So how many people in your life have told you, you need to start investing, oh, you got to start saving and you got to start doing this, but you don't really know why? Part of that is because of the society we live in. It just isn't something that you really think about. You don't really think about investing at a young age. Heck, even at an older age, you don't think about it because it's easier to just spend the money you make. Does it feel daunting, irrelevant, or even boring to you to invest money? By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly why investing matters and why it's probably worth your time, even though instant gratification is fun because you get all the cool things now. But investing is delaying gratification. It is absolutely worth your time to think about and to do this. And I want to show you how and why. So the first thing you got to do is you got to find a way to keep your money growing at a faster pace than inflation is. Now, I know that's a daunting task today because inflation is about 8.3%. When you think about that, your money's got to earn more than 8.3, but the banks are paying 1% or less. CDs are barely paying 3%. Like, how the heck am I supposed to find a place to put my money where it can beat inflation? We don't really need to worry as much about that. But inflation as a whole is normally 3.2%. So let's focus that, because this hyperinflation we're in is a temporary problem that you could solve with a temporary solution. But the purpose of this video isn't so much that, but I want you to always keep that in the back of your mind. Your money is losing value every single day to inflation. So if your money isn't invested or isn't working for you in a form of investing or loaning or whatever it is you want to do, your money is dying and your purchasing power is being diminished day in and day out. And there's nothing you can do about inflation out of your control. But there is something you can do about making your money work for you, and that is investing. So how many hours are in the day? Let's talk about that. There's 24 hours in the day, right? And you still got to eat, you got to sleep, you got shit to do, right? How do you value your time? You've been taught to put a value on your time, haven't you? You know, throughout your life, you're like, oh, I know for me, I was like, back in the day, I'm like, oh my God, I'm absolutely worth $5 an hour. And I know you guys are laughing. I'm old though. $5. Or are you worth 10? Or are you worth 20? Or are you worth 100? Every one of those numbers, whatever number you can put behind the valuation of your hour is wrong, because your hours really are priceless. It is the one thing you can't get back. So you can always make more money, but it will always come at the cost of your time. And your time is the most precious resource you have. So because of that, you have to find a way to make your money work for you. Well, if you don't, I feel bad for you. Your money has to make more money for you. It has to just work for you, because your money doesn't have limitations of time like you do. And your money can always go out there and work 24/7. You cannot. Try it for a couple of days. Try to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You won't make it. You can't do it. It's probably not even possible, but your money can. And that provides a much greater growth potential for you than keeping your money just sitting on the sidelines or sitting around. The second part we got to talk about when we talk about investing, and this is the most important thing, is the risk-reward trade-off. So for every reward, there's a risk. You need to determine your risk-reward trade-off. So what do I mean by that? Well, if your desired return is 10%, just throwing a number out there out of no recommendations or suggestions here. I'm just picking a number, 10%. If that's your reward, how much risk are you willing to take to get that reward? That's the risk-reward trade-off. Everybody's different. You need to decide what is yours. Because once you understand that, you'll understand the most amount of risk. Don't ever go out there and be unrealistic, seeking unrealistic returns. You want to be realistic in what you're actually planning here. So you might say, oh, well, I want to make as much as I can. Bad. Because you know what that's going to mean? You're going to lose all your money. You're no different than the guy sitting at that casino, gambling all their money away and about to put their house on the line. You're no different if you think, I just want to make more, because that's what gamblers think. More, more, more. Be realistic and never get greedy, because if you get greedy with your money will not be yours anymore. It will be somebody else's. Maybe mine. Who knows? Principal erosion. This is a very important thing. When you invest your money, you invest your principal. It goes by many names. Your cost basis is the amount of money you put in. That is your principal. If your money is sitting and it's not working for you, in other words, if you don't invest that money, you're always eroding principal. Your investments may also erode your principal if they go down in value. One of the principal erosions I'm talking about is when your money's just sitting in a bank account, sitting in, a CD that's not keeping pace with inflation, sitting in anything, a money market, wherever you keep your money, under your bed, I don't know. Your money is eroding. Inflation is stealing purchasing power from your dollar every single day. This is vital. So let's go back to investing. There are so many different ways to invest. Now, I think the media and I think just social media has done an absolutely horrific job, including the gurus out there. They've done a horrific job of telling you how to invest your money because they all want to assume that everybody fits in a little square box. And that little square box in today's world seems to be, oh, put your money in the index fund. That is not appropriate for most people because if your risk reward trade-off said that you can't afford to lose money, well, if you put your money in indexed funds right now or indexed ETFs, exchange traded funds, you're probably down over 20% in 2022 right now. So how's that fit into your risk reward profile? It doesn't. It's out of line. Your investment profile might be different than your neighbor's investment profile. Your investment profile might be different than that guru that's telling you to put money into an index fund. Why do they say that? Because it's easy. And because it's very simple and because that's just what they've been told to do. But you know what? Your dreams, your goals are different than their dreams and their goals. Just because they say an index fund is what you should invest in doesn't mean it really is. It may not be what you should be putting your money in. Maybe you should be putting your money in something safer. Maybe you should be the bank and be lending your money because that risk is less because you have something, in most cases when you lend, that will collateralize your loan. Think of how a bank operates. You know, it took me this many years to really figure this piece out, but banks are masters at making their money work for them. But the best part about a bank is it's not even their money. It's your money because you have been taught to give up control of your money to the bank. And then the bank, just because they know how to do it, takes your money and makes your money go to work for the bank. They make 400 to 1,300% more than you do on the deposits you leave there. Go to bauerfinancial.com and look it up. If you wanted to invest your money, and you really wanted probably the best way to do it or the safest way to do it, wouldn't it just make sense to mimic what a bank does? Well, that's what I figured out. I used to invest money in the stock market. I used to trade options. I have a full-time trader that trades, in our hedge fund, he does futures and option strategies. That's all good and great. That's his cup of tea and that's what he's good at. But for me, I'm boring. I just don't like taking risk. I like being secured. I like knowing that no matter what happens, there's something backing every dollar. And when I put money in an index fund, if the market goes down, doesn't matter. There's nothing backing it. If the index fund loses everything, I lose everything. If the stock that I invest in goes bankrupt, I lose everything. If I do what a bank does and I just lend money, if I become the bank and mimic what a bank does and I lend it out, as long as I do it right, and there are some rules of engagement, which I cover in other videos on YouTube, but there are rules of engagement. But if I just mimic a bank, my money is secured by collateral. Now, you can call collateral lots of things. I like real estate. It's just something that I understand. But if you were to lend money to somebody on a car loan, there's collateral. It's a car. Now, it has wheels, so you might have to chase it around the country trying to get it if they don't pay you, but you get the drift. There's something tangible backing your money. Then it comes down to reward. So we just talked about risk mitigation. Index funds and all these other stocks that you can invest in, that might be your cup of tea. And if you're young, dollar cost averaging is the best way to do that. But that doesn't fit your risk. If you can't accept the fact that you can lose all the money, and if you can't accept the fact that you are not at all in control of what happens with those investments, then being the bank really makes a lot of sense because you are in control. You set the terms. When you go into a bank, does the bank tell you to come up with your terms? No, the bank tells you what you're going to pay them. Well, when you're the bank, you do the same thing. If I'm going to lend money to a real estate investor on a non-owner occupied commercial real estate deal, I tell them how much to pay me. They want my money. They've got the deal. I charge 12% right now. So that's my reward. My risk mitigation, okay, my risk reward profile is that I'm going to take a first lien position on that property. So sir or ma'am, if you don't pay me my monthly payments, I'm going to take your property. But I'm not going to own anything. I'm simply going to control everything. That is how I control principal erosion. That is how I have chosen to handle my risk reward profile. And that is how I have handled investing. I've done a lot of different kinds of investments. You will also do lots of kinds of investment. And you will settle in the one that you really like. Just make sure whatever you do when it comes to investing, this is my final piece of advice to you. Invest in something that you know, like, and understand. Let me repeat that. Invest in something that you know, like, and understand. That, above all, will help protect you. If you like this video, check this one out. The video is called It's Over. The inflationary collapse has begun, and it's happening right now. That video will prepare you for however you're going to invest. So if you like this, make sure you subscribe to this channel and click that little alerts button so that you can be notified every time I put a new video out. Stay classy out there. Be safe with your investments. We'll see you next time.